My daughter is blind, but I want to get her into DnD. I am not the OOP. OOP is you, perfect fits. My daughter is blind, but I want to get her into DnD. Originally posted to our DnD. Mood spoiler. One great dad. Less than. Original post July 31st, 2022. She has the best imagination, but she has been against actually rolling dice. What's the best way to get her involved in it? Sorry if this is fairly vague. I've played the game on and off for decades. Relevant comments. Baron Bart. Bump Pip Dice. Are there braille-like analog for dice faces? I just like the feel of the shapes in my heads as is. Maybe I'm just autistic like that, but maybe an app that rolls and announces the results audibly? And imagination is the biggest piece. Dice aren't even really needed to tell an excellent story together. Oop replied, she's amazing on tactile stuff and theater of mind, so I probably should make her be able to roll and feel it, etc. Nishio, use a voice assistant, like Google Assistant or Alexa. Hey Google, roll 6d10. Oop replied, that's a great idea. She loves asking Alexa for songs, so I might do it for dice. Everyone has had great suggestions. Update August 14th, 2022. So, my daughter is 10 and blind, but she loves theater of mind period. I had the starter set already. I'd read over Minds of Phandelver over and over again, and also I'd watched a ton of YouTube videos about how to run games for kids. I simplified everything into being able to pick 4 basic races: human, elf, dwarf, gnome, and classes: fighter, rangers, sorcerer, druid. She immediately picked human druid and knew what she wanted to do with her character. It was very surprising because I thought I would have to guide her through things or prod her in certain direction. Nope. She just kept going hard on how she used to be a villager and her dad was a ranger and her mom was a witch. But she spent most of her time in the forest. She could speak with animals, especially birds and monkeys, then dragons, goblins, orcs, and orangutans, apparently evil, attacked their village in the enchanted forest. She had to escape that enchanted forest and was lost for a long time until she found another enchanted forest by following her robin friend that she could speak with. She was taken in by a kingdom inside of the middle of another enchanted forest, and them finding her. A human magic user said she would be the princess of that land because the king and queen couldn't have their own child. But she's stuck between a rock and a hard place because they now, 2 years later, want her to marry a prince from another kingdom. But, alas, she is just 16 and wants to do her own thing. She has been spending most of her time in the woods working on her own abode. Robin came and told her about another individual that was being attacked by giant raccoons though, and she came to rescue her new friend. The new friend is my current girlfriend, who is an elf ranger that has been lost in these woods for months, but has good berries and create water. Anyways, she came and cast her minor illusion and charm animals to save Bones, the mountain elf ranger. Don't judge. But her name is Fancy Skydiver. But she just goes by Skydiver. Oh, and she has a dog with a unicorn horn that can turn into a real unicorn with an invisible magical saddle to carry their things to go anywhere. It sort of reminded me of Catbus from Totoro. Anyways, the Unipup is what we've been calling it. Can only do it for short spurts. After rescuing her beat-up friend, she brought her back into her own little house in the woods. A grizzly dwarf named Grumthor, the captain of the guard of the kingdom, came looking for her. She was still confused and annoyed. But it had been 2 days since she had been home. They had a small conversation, but she ultimately sent him back to the king and queen to say that there is no way she is getting married, and she still needs to figure out what she wants to do. Grumthor returned back to the court in front of the Queen and King. She voiced the Queen and half the NPCs at this point, which I found amusing, and basically stated she's not coming back. The Queen rode back down with her guard and Grumthor and his 2 dwarf axemen, Ronaldo and Denitio. Princess Fancy had a penchant for healing everyone, even though she knew she only had a limited amount of spells a day. Denitio and Ronaldo were both injured because there have been goblin and wolf attacks along the way, but she still used all her magic to save both of them. I think I'm missing some parts, but I just found it amusing, and this will probably help me remember our next session. Goblins riding wolves are on their way, and the dwarves are guarding outside while Fancy and Bones are inside with the Queen. So, yeah, all that planning with LMOP. Yeah. Anyways, it ended up great. I had her roll d20s and stuff and just told her what it was, and she just laughed and explained what she did, etc. Hopefully someone else gets a kick out of this. I'm still beaming. Relevant comments. Shmami0. That sounds like an absolute joy. It's very heartwarming to hear how creatively involved your daughter is. She seems very bright, and you sound like an excellent father and DM. Oop replied, I've played a lot of DnD, and this is my most fun session. It was hard to navigate for me because I wanted to put it more in the rules, but I just stopped trying to control it after about 20 minutes. I'm sure most DMs wish they had players just going on full-blown stories about what they're doing. I'm just hoping she's still interested in what happens next. Die Orwolf. I played at a convention with a blind DM. He had an electric braille reading machine, and he was a blast to play with. It was an official D&D event, too. Give it a few years and she will be DMing for you or her friends. Oop replied, God, I hope so. She's already taken over half the NPCs. We always went on adventures when she was young, which was just walking around pretending. This is a repost sub IAM, not the oop. This is the BORU that I needed today. This is the quality content I come for. There's nothing like the I can do anything. Based it in Sparkle's story of a child. Leave your critical thinking at the door. It's magical adventure time. Don't judge. But her name is Fancy Skydiver. That is the greatest name in the history of names, and I won't hear a word said against it. Everything about this is lovely. Thanks for sharing OOP's post with us. I really never thought about how incredibly perfect D&D is for people who are blind. Outside of the dice, everyone is experiencing it as an audio game. Essentially, one of those rare things where the seeing and the blind get to have the same experience. 100% my next character is going to be named Fancy Skydiver in this little gamer's honor. As a human who has met the old guard and the Gigax family, this is what D&D is for, and don't let anyone tell you different. I'm sobbing, this is so magical. Back in the deepest 1980s, I didn't have anyone to play D&D with, so my great-grandma would play with me. She got the imagination stuff and only needed a little bit of coaching on which dice were what. Best D&D memories of not life. I used to go to this game store called Blind Worm Games. Not exactly the name, but close enough. The store was named after one of the owners who was blind. Unfortunately, I didn't start going to the store until after the blind owner died. But he was legendary for running games with such vivid detail that the players would be completely engrossed in the story. BTW. For anyone wondering how to get their kids into RPGs in a really fun way, there is a game called Magical Kitties that is a fantastic way to introduce them. The players play cats with a superpower: flight, invisibility, super strength, teleportation, force fields, etc., who protect their humans and the town from threats, such as super smart raccoons, a witch, a toy maker who uses toys to steal, an alien invasion, etc. The catch is that the humans can never see the cats using their powers. It's super fun. So cute. And on such a lovely post, I can retire for the night. Thanks. This is the absolute sweetest DnD story. Smiling face with hearts. A druid with a dogacorn named Fancy Skydiver. I would join her party in a second flat. Don't judge the name Fancy Skydiver? How dare you tell me to not judge one of the coolest names I've ever read. Wow, what a nice palate cleanser. I've said it before and I'll say it again. DnD is for everyone. We all deserve to go on a magical adventure at least once. Does anyone else remember a BORU that was a lot like this, but it was the granddaughter who was trying to get grandma and grandpa into it? I think it was the grandparents who wanted to do it to bond with her. Anyways, the one thing I do remember is that both Ma and Pa had some impressive imaginations, just like Miss Skydiver here. It always makes me smile when another adventure is born. I have never played a second of DnD and only really know the very basics, but I was absolutely captivated by her story. Best BORU I've read in a while. This 10-year-old writes better backstories than most of my players. Once while I was getting my hair done at a salon, this mom and adult daughter came in to get some really cool mermaid hair together. We were all there together for a hot minute because they were going one at a time and I was getting a perm, so I got to see a slice of their life as they interacted together, and I occasionally made complimentary comments on their hair color choices. Mom was blind, and they played DnD together along with daughter's husband. Mom had this cassette deck type device that had their DnD campaign notes or something on it and was reviewing it while daughter got her hair done. She could fast forward and rewind on it. It was really cool. I hope in retrospect I wasn't staring because I was so fascinated by it. Mom also had an earpod in one ear and the DnD rulebook on her phone and was referencing that periodically. Love Unipup.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.